Jeongin smoothed the lapel of his blazer, his smile bright enough to rival the fluorescent humming of the lecture hall. He tapped a piece of chalk against the slate board. I realized the age gap between us. It's minimal, Jeongin said, glancing at the sea of 20-somethings. But I assure you, my credentials in comparative literature are absolute. I am Professor Yang. The heavy oak doors groaned open, slamming against the rubber stoppers. 3 girls sauntered in, the scent of vanilla and expensive tobacco trailing behind them. YN led the pack, her oversized denim jacket sliding off one shoulder. Jeongin stopped mid-sentence. He blinked, his smile wavering but remaining fixed. Nice of you to join us, Jeongin said. YN didn't head for the empty rows. She walked straight to the front, her boots clicking a rhythmic beat against the linoleum. She stopped inches from his desk, leaning forward until the scent of her perfume clouded his space. Professor, she murmured. She let her gaze linger on his lips before meeting his eyes. I didn't know the faculty started hiring from the boy band circuit. A few students snickered. Jeongin's grip tightened on the chalk. I'm a PhD candidate with a teaching fellowship, he replied. And you are? Why? But you probably saw my name on the Do Not Admit list for the last 3 seminars. She reached out, her fingertip grazing the edge of his mahogany desk, sliding closer to his hand. She tilted her head, a lock of hair falling over her eye. You look nervous. Professor, is it the crowd? Or just me? Jeongin cleared his throat, his cheeks flushing a faint pink. The syllabus is on the portal. Please, take your seat. YN didn't move. She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a vibration that only he could catch. I've always struggled with reading comprehension, she whispered. Maybe I'll need some private tutoring after hours. Somewhere with less lighting. Jeongin froze. His smile remained, but it had morphed into something strained, a mask of professional composure, fighting a losing battle against curiosity. My office hours are posted on the door, he managed. Why? N straightened up, a triumphant glint in her eyes. She stepped back, the sudden distance leaving a cold void in the air. I'll keep that in mind, she said. She turned and strolled toward the back of the room. Her friends followed, whispering and giggling. YN dropped into a desk in the final row, kicking her feet up on the chair in front of her. Jeongin stared at the board for a long second. He turned back to the class, his voice a pitch higher than before. Right. Page 1. Let's begin. Rain lashed against the office window, blurring the campus lights into smeared neon thumbprints. Inside, the air tasted of old paper and the sharp, citrus bite of YN's perfume. Jeongin stood behind his mahogany desk, his knuckles white where he gripped the edge of a grading rubric. YN sat perched on the edge of his desk, her boots swinging. She held a single sheet of paper, his latest critique of her thesis, between 2 fingers. You tore my argument apart, Professor. Jeongin didn't look up. Your thesis lacked cohesion. You relied on emotion where the text demanded analysis. I gave the text a pulse. You gave it a fever. YN dropped the paper. It fluttered onto the desk, landing inches from his hand. She leaned in, the denim of her jacket brushing his shoulder. Is that what this is? An academic disagreement? Jeongin finally met her gaze. The mask of the polished PhD candidate had cracked. His eyes were dark, the pupils blown wide. You know exactly what this is. Then, say it. No syllabus. No footnotes. Just the words. He stepped back, the chair screeching against the linoleum. He paced the small room, the space feeling smaller with every breath. The board is already scrutinizing my appointment. One rumor, one whispered conversation in the hallway, and I am back to being a footnote in someone else's career. You're terrified. I am pragmatic. You're boring. Jeongin stopped. He turned, his voice dropping an octave, stripping away the lecture hall projection. I have spent 3 years erasing every mistake, every impulse, just to stand in this room. I built a wall of credentials to keep people like you from seeing how easily I break. Yin stood, her expression shifting. The smug tilt of her lips vanished, replaced by a raw, searching look. I don't want the Professor Jeongin. I never did. Then what do you want? To see how far you can push me before I snap. I want to know if there is anything left under that blazer besides a textbook. Jeongin lunged forward, his hands slamming against the doorframe behind her, pinning her between his arm and the wood. The sudden movement knocked a stack of folders to the floor. Careful, he breathed, his face inches from hers. You might find out I'm not as disciplined as I pretend. Prove it. Prove it. He didn't answer with words. He closed the gap, his mouth crashing against hers with a desperation that tasted of salt and long-suppressed hunger. Yin gripped the lapels of his blazer, pulling him closer, her fingers digging into the fabric he had spent the semester smoothing. He pulled back, just a fraction, his forehead resting against hers, both of them gasping for air. This ruins everything. Good.